This is the Sideline Slice, presented by Valentino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Huskers. Here's your host, Jessica Coody, and Husker Radio Network analyst, Jeremiah Sirles.
Hey, everybody. Welcome into a bye-week edition of the Sideline Slice, also a victory episode with the big dog, Jeremiah Sirles. I'm Jessica Coody. Sirles, I was pretty disappointed to hear you didn't go run the halvesy with Josh and Camden after a late night doing Big Red Reaction on Saturday and Sunday.
The day you hear me talk about running a half marathon, check me in for CTE, because that's just not going to happen. The idea of running that, like, I still make fun. My business partner runs like ultra marathons, and he's like, "It's great." I'm like, "You pay money to do that? Like, you realize you could just go outside and run. Like, no one would stop you. Like, you could just go run and run and run, like Forrest Gump it. Like, but to pay money to be like, I ran 13.1. Hats off to everyone that did it. I physically don't understand it.
I mean, Josh set a PR and it was freezing, and Camden was
cold.
was under what he set. Duke, our intern, also ran it. So, I mean, they got more willpower than I do. That's for 100%. Sure. 100%. I got off that airplane because we were in 80-degree weather on Saturday afternoon. Load the flight. People were in shorts and T-shirts, and I got off that airplane, and it just, like, hit me like 1,000 knives in the face. It was brutal. I was joking with Josh. I just was speed walking to my car, and my throat was, like, on fire. I don't know how people ran that next morning.
All I could think about was like, man, if this was a night game in Lincoln right now, it'd be a miserable experience.
Oh, well, how was Big Red Reaction?
It was great. You know, it was great. I think we had really good calls from 1 to 3 a.m. I think that there is some interesting takes as far as the quarterback position goes, which is totally expected as I was watching that game and watching Lateef be who we wanted him and needed him to be. I think the gut reaction is obviously like, well, where's this been all year, right? Why can't we do this? And look at the quarterback of the future and all that stuff. And it's so easy to forget about the quarterback that got us to 6 wins before Halloween. Right? And so much of the leader and what he is, because they're just so drastically different in styles. But overall, I mean, the positivity was there. I think there's still a couple Looney Tunes that like to call in, but you're always going to get those. But for the most part, I think Husker Nation was pretty happy with the fact that we've got 7 wins, and we're not even in the halfway point in November yet.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think to your point with TJ Lateef, we'll dive into it and all the positives and all of that. But I think a lot was made with the talk here on the Sideline Slice, also with, Dame in the pregame show, Ben, everybody kind of making it that, hey, it doesn't have to be all about TJ. And certainly that came to fruition. And Emmett Johnson once again was a superstar, and now his name is all over the country. The Heisman push is officially underway. Announced yesterday afternoon. The logos, the graphics are sweet. But, that was a big part of TJ's success, is being able to get the ball to Emmett, and Emmett doing his thing, and in a large part to what the offensive line did up front. It was a complete team effort, but Emmett Johnson was a superstar on Saturday night in L.A.
He's been a superstar for 3 weeks.
For sure.
I mean, the guy has been fantastic. And I think, looking back even 3 weeks ago, Dana Holgerson and crew went, hey, if we want to win, this dude's got to touch the ball 28 to 30 times a game. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to go, the focal point of this offense is the running back. And I know a lot is talked about the quarterback, rightfully so. You have to have a great quarterback to win in this league. But overall, I think you're looking and go, hey, it's okay to be a run-first team in the Big Ten. A lot of teams have won a lot of Big Ten championships being a run-first team in the Big Ten and physically controlling the clock, controlling the tempo, controlling the physicality of the team. And I think the offensive line, really ever since Minnesota, has embodied that. I think they've embodied that they want to run the football first. They want to be physical. Obviously, no offensive lineman wants to pass block 50 times a game. It's a death sentence. You want to be able to run the football. And to have a running back like Emmett who can make holes, and he's really great with the jump cuts, and the vision has gotten so much better since week 1 to where we are now. He is becoming a complete back. He's becoming a guy that I'm sure the NFL is taking notes on. I mean, as much as I would love for him to come back and be a Husker next year, I don't know if the NFL is going to allow that to happen for him. But overall, he has been such a bright piece of this offense, bright piece of the Big Ten, and just an ultimate football player to get to watch on tape.
And look, I know the Heisman talk is, everybody in Husker Nation going to get behind it and sing it from the rooftops. That might be a little bit more challenging because, a lot of times it is going to one of the best the best players on one of the best teams in the country. You never know from year to year, but certainly the best running back, the Doak, could very well, if Emmett keeps it up for 2 more games, that very well could be coming back to Lincoln, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he has a great case for that because it is right. He's not just a one-trick pony, right? It's not just he's running. He can catch the football and he's great in space, and he's gotten better in pass protection. He's just continued to be a complete back. And that's what you want to be one of the best backs in the country. You can't just be, well, he's a great runner or he is a great pass catcher or he's a great route runner. Like, you have to be a complete back. And when you talk about Emmett Johnson, what he means for this offense specifically, when I start talking about Heisman type awards or the Doak Award, or if you're talking about the pinnacle MVP type stuff, my number one thing that I always look at is what would this team be or this offense be without that piece? And that's a scary thought as a Husker fan right now, right? Like, what would this offense be if Emmett Johnson fell off the face of the earth? Probably not great, right? Probably not as effective as we've been able to be running the football. And so that's when I think you vault yourself into those categories of Heisman and Doak, as you go, hey, he is the MVP of that football team. If you take him off that football team, the offense might really sputter and struggle. That's where you start to go, okay, that's the award finalist. That's the guy we want to give that award to.
Look, and Emmett's quick to point to the teammates, and it's, I know it's a team thing too. How encouraging is it that we have a player in these kinds of conversations in November for it's been a conversation all year long about the trajectory moving forward and the improvements under Coach Rule, but it's saying something that you've got a player in these kinds of conversations in November, right?
Absolutely. It shows for development. It shows that he wasn't the highest recruited player in the country. He wasn't a 5-star. He wasn't a Saquon Barkley that came in as the number one running back and then did number one running back things. He's just stayed the process, and he's gotten better, and he's gotten bigger, and he's gotten faster, and he's gotten stronger, and he's taken coaching, and he's just grown as a human being and as a player. That's helped him become the better running back of this team. And so you talk about that as a recruit, and you're looking at that and you're going, well, he did it. Why can't I do it? Right. And obviously everyone wants to recruit the Saquon Barkleys and you want those guys in, don't get me wrong. But when you're battling for that next tier of high school recruit or transfer portal recruit and saying, hey, we know how to develop running backs. We know how to build them in-house. We know how to build them so that you can go become the Doak Walker Award winner. That is a very enticing thing for all positions, not just the running back spot.
Okay, so last thing, because again, we're making the push here, right? We're doing our part as a part of the Heisman campaign and just this overall campaign, All-American, potential All-American. I mean, there's just a lot of things that are potentially on the table for Emmett that this program has not been able to have in quite some time. If you're talking, because I think another part to that point that you just made is that he didn't come into the season as a part of like the preseason watch lists and all that, and Nebraska wasn't a team that was big time on the radar as far as like a top 10 team, all of that kind of stuff. But what would be your pitch to somebody who's thinking about and trying to do their research why Emmt Johnson deserves to get a nod on some of these things?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is everything I just talked about, where if you turn on the tape, right, and you look at and again, I don't want this to be a shot at guys like Mosey and Nelson or Quentin Ives. Like, I don't take this as a shot to them, but take it as when Emmt Johnson's out of the game and we hand the ball off to those guys, how different does it feel? Right? From just an overall perspective of, wow, how special is that guy? Right? How special is that human being that he can actually make this thing go and create things out of nothing and chicken salad out of chicken, right? Like, that's the saying. And so many times he can just create things that seem like they're not there. And then when they are there, he makes them explosive. And that's the difference between an elite level running back and a development level running back, which Nelson and Mosey and Ives are developmental level running backs that we hope can build into that. But when you see that drastic drop off from Emmt Johnson to the rest, it just shows you he's in a category of his own. And then you watch backs around the country and you start comparing him to Emmt Johnson. You're going, Emmt Johnson's better than those guys too. And so you just keep going down the list, and eventually you come back to the status quo of Emmt Johnson's one of the best running backs in the country. And so that's what you have to compare it to, and that's what you have to continue to look at it for. And I think if you can objectively look at it from a numbers perspective, from a contribution perspective, and an overall just how well he's playing, it's not really that hard of an argument.
Okay, well, mic drop. Let's just end the episode right there. I'm gonna clip off that and put it in.
Hey, listen, I'll do my part, man. I'm team EJ all the way.
Okay, all right. So we got that taken care of. Wanted to again give that a platform here on this podcast. But let's go back to UCLA. What did you think of TJ Lateef and just the way he was able to handle the moment and the way that guys rallied around him too?
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't have played better. And I think that's a very easy thing to say. I mean, he only incompleted 2 passes, one of which was a drop. The other one was just a slight overthrow, but he operated in the Dana Holgorsen system. And this is what we talked about on this show last week, where everyone was asking, well, what happened against USC? Why couldn't he operate? Why couldn't he go things? Because Dylan Raiola and TJ Lateef are 2 completely different skill set players. And so you can't game plan for both, right? You have the game plan for who the starter is that week. And I thought Dana Holgorsen put together a brilliant game plan for TJ Lateef. It was high percentage throws, it was slants, it was screens, it was play actions, it was rolling the pocket. He didn't ask him to sit back there in a 7-step drop and let these route concepts develop and try and deliver it into a tight window like he would ask Dylan to do. He allowed him to use his legs, and he allowed him to put himself in position to win and to move the sticks. And then obviously the offensive line did a great job of keeping him upright, not letting him get hit. Like I watched them do to Nico over and over and over again, right? Like I just felt like overall you felt a different vibe from this offense because the other 10 guys knew they had to elevate TJ Lateef. They knew they had to play better to help him have his best game. And hopefully we can continue that momentum into the bye week here and then obviously take it with us into a very talented Penn State team.
How brilliant was it for the play call? First play, TJ keeps it, picks up the first down.
Zone read, baby. Right, zone read right off the rip. And it's just one of those things where if you're UCLA, you're like, when are they going to get to it? And they're like, oh, they're going to do it now. They're going to do it now. Right, like we have to be ready for this right now. And then they really never even got back to it. But it really wasn't like a staple.
The rest of the time.
Yeah. They had to go off on the sideline and be like, get the whiteboard. Right? Like, okay, when this dude goes this way, like, and you're spending time, and then you come back, and then it's like, yeah, we didn't even really get back to it, right? Play checkers, not chess.
Valentino's, a slice of home you just can't get anywhere else. What started with a treasured family recipe has become a Nebraska tradition for over 68 years. Proud to be the official pizza of the Huskers.
The offensive line, you mentioned it, continuing to get better, but I'm telling you, Sirles, I thought about you. Those guys were absolutely lit on the sideline after Emmett's touchdown just right up the gut. I mean, Elijah Pritchett was borderline. He was playing nasty enough that he didn't get a penalty. He didn't cross that line, but he was right there. And just the way that they were after the run too, where Justin Evans and Rocco Spindler were blocking up the sideline. I mean, you could tell they were really confident and to what you say all the time about you get better as you go along, the more you demoralize somebody. I think I saw that personally on Saturday. That was one of those things that I thought about some of the things you say about the offensive line. I saw it on Saturday.
I did too. And I was like, 57 is going to ruin 97's life. And I loved everything about it, right? Like every play, he's just right there. And then he throws him on the ground a few times. And then he has that physical presence to him where when he flips it on, Elijah Pritchett is amazing. And he just needs to more consistently do it. But he's huge. He's physical. He can run. He's long. He's got everything you want to be in a left tackle. And so when you start to see him feeling it and getting into it, and then you're watching Rocco and Justin just eject nose tackles, and Emmett's just running up the middle, like it is so much fun to impose your will on a defense. I mean, I can't put into words the feeling of watching a defense hang his head as you just gained another 7 yards. And you walk back to the huddle like, hey, bud, I'll see you in 30 seconds, right? And you just come back, and then you line up in the line. You're like, you know what we're doing, right? Like, you know what's about to happen. And then you do it again. Like, I cannot put into words how much fun that is. And I saw some of that from this Nebraska team the other night. And that's what you needed to do, right? You needed to keep Nico off the field. You needed to run the football and continue to do things well and stay on schedule. That was the biggest thing, Jess. We stayed on schedule on offense. I can only really think of maybe 1 or 2 times where it was 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 13. We lived in 2nd and 6 and 2nd and 5. And that's a great place to be as a play caller. It's a great place to be as a quarterback where you're not stressed to 2nd and 10, or I got to get half of this to give us an unmanageable 3rd down, or I got to press whatever it might be. Offensive line play allowed us to stay on schedule.
Were you absolutely losing your mind on the touchdown pass to Emmett up the sideline when those guys –
oh, yeah. Run, big fellas, go! I was just screaming at the TV as I was like, Rocco, run! Like, get your big butt out there! And like, I mean, just it's so fun to watch those guys get going because we're so fat and we're so not athletes. And then like you see us in space in double knee braces and we're just chugging along as we go. Like, I loved it. I think it's so much fun to watch fat kids in space.
Justin like threw somebody on their behind and then turn around and threw somebody else on their behind.
Right, but that's the great thing is when you are out in space and you get to see that tiny 185 pound, 165 pound corner, you're like, oh, you're gonna die, right? Like, you're gonna die.
That's great. Hey, I pitched this to you. We got to figure out a way to do it. Might have to circle back on this, but I thought about that when I posed this idea to you about potentially doing some play breakdowns here on the podcast, and I thought that would be one. I've had a couple different people reach out about another couple other plays that have happened the last couple of weeks that they'd love to see you break down, but that was one I would love to see you because you might break a screen.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much to look at and so much to go on. And then just to end it with the physicality of throwing DBs on the ground and then like laughing at them as you go by is so much. It was such a great thing. And then the other pieces, we put in a couple new plays this week out of 12 personnel, right? One back, two tight ends where we had the counter and we had different pullers and cutting. Like we put in a whole new run scheme this week that we put on tape for UCLA that Penn State's going to see, but UCLA hadn't seen it and they really struggled to stop it. And so that's where I go back to Dana Holgorsen and say, bravo, sir, way to go out there and adjust and put some really hard pressure things on UCLA that Penn State's now going to have to continue to watch for and look for too, even though they're coming off the bye too, which is kind of annoying.
At one point I counted 3 tight ends out there.
Oh yeah, we lived in some 13 personnel too. I mean, and we haven't done a whole lot of that this week or this year, but UCLA had a terrible rush defense. They had a terrible pass defense. Like we did exactly what we should against the inferior team. And you make no mistake, UCLA was the inferior team besides Nico. Nico is a freak show.
Okay, so before we get to that, the wide receivers have improved on their blocking as well. Right? In order
to have explosive runs, you have to block on the edge.
Yeah. So Coach Rule and Coach Holgorsen called those guys out. Dane Key talked about it on the Cornhusker Conversation last week that they were challenged and they've answered the bell and they've been a big part of what Emmett's been able to do on those big chunk plays downfield, right?
100%. Yeah, you have to block on the edge. You have to continue to be physical on the edge, and I think you see guys like Key and Hunter take pride in that. Like Luke Lindenmeyer takes pride in running up and smashing a linebacker. Like there's a lot of pieces that go into that. And when you do that, it opens up a lot of stuff in the pass game too. So I really enjoy watching our receivers have the want to go block. Cause that's a lot of what it takes to be receivers. You have to want to be able to go and be physical.
And that's also, I think, catching some attention from scouts, right? They want to see that.
Heck yeah. No one, you can't play receiver in the National Football League unless you block. You just can't do it, right? You have to show that you are willing to throw your body on the line to block for the running back, not just go make the amazing catches over the edge.
All right, well, let's get to the defense, and they come out, get the 3 and out, and you talked about it. Coach Rule talked about it. They were getting to Nico, and Nico took some hits, but he's just kind of on a different level, right, in terms of athleticism and the things that he can do. Sometimes there's just not really ways to defend that, right?
Yeah, I mean, the guy's unbelievable. I mean, he's such a great athlete. I mean, you look around on that team and it's pretty easy to go, one of these things is not like the other, right? Like you're looking at Nico and you're looking at the rest of the team and you're like, okay, I see why this guy was supposed to make a bunch of money.
Sung like a true Swiftie, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. You know me, Swiftie Sirles, all our fun nonsense back there. But yeah, I mean, you watch him run, and I told my friends I was watching the game with, I go, this dude's gonna die in the second quarter. Like he's getting just hit after hit. I was like, if he keeps going like this, there's no way he finishes this game. And hats off to him for being one tough dude, for just continuing to fight and continuing to go. Because I think he also understood the second I go out of this football game, my team is toast. And so wait for him to fight. But yeah, I mean, they blitzed him, they hit him, they pressured him. They did everything right where they didn't allow the quarterback run scheme to hurt them. All of his big yards came on scrambles. Right? They came on scrambles where we had him wrapped up, or we thought we did, or he made an unbelievable athletic move and went. But it wasn't these called quarterback runs that actually hurt us, which I know was part of Butler's plan. I thought Butler had a really good plan put together.
The development of some of those guys up front, like Keona Davis, had a great day. Coach Rules really
Yes,
bragged on.
he was my hungry Husker on Big Red Reaction.
A lot of the these younger players, I think we're starting to see grow. What's your evaluation of the defensive line and where they are compared to where they were, again, back in September and early October?
Yeah, I think they're continuing to gel. They're continuing to get better. They need to continue to tackle better, right? If you have a free run at the quarterback, get him on the ground. If you have arms around a running back at the line of scrimmage, get him on the ground, right? Little things like that. But overall, I thought they're starting to play better as a unit. You're starting to see Winery start to pass rush a little bit better. I need him to still use his hands. I feel like a lot of times he just kind of runs into people with his chest. And I'm like, Broski, you've got 36-inch arms. Use them, right? Don't be afraid to use those things as weapons. But that just comes with time and development, right? I mean, I think that McCullough being out was a big piece of that. But man, his replacement walked right in and played his absolute tail off. I'm blanking on his name.
Dylan
right
Rogers.
Now, 52. Dylan Rogers. Thank you. Dylan Rogers walked in and just absolutely played his tail off, made his presence known. He blitzed, he ran run coverage. He did a fantastic job in a place for number 15.
Another one of those guys that's been in this program and has been developed. I think
Yes.
When this week Coach Rule had kind of made a statement in his press conference about NIL, and they're going to be able to compete for some of those guys in the portal. But I think that's a big part of it too. You're seeing guys grow significantly. A guy like Emmett Johnson, Dylan Rogers, that they've made better football players in their time that they've been here at Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Evans, Henry Lutovsky, like those guys are taking strides, and that's what you have to do. Like the portal is great. And it's meant for a lot of things, but you can't build a culture and a program from the portal. You want to get to the point where the portal is something where you go, we have a hole here, and plug that portal player into hole and run, right? You don't want to be every single year going, okay, we need 4 O-linemen, 6 receivers, 2 linebackers. Like that's not a way to make a living. You want to go, hey, we've built these dudes. We have these pieces. Let's bring this one key piece in on defense or 3 key pieces in on offense and plug them in and they're day one contributors, and let's rock and roll with this thing. But I'll say it, and I'll always say it again, O-linemen need to be built in-house.
Yeah. All right, who gets your game balls?
TJ Lateef, man, you got to give it to the guy. I mean, it's super easy to point and go Emmett Johnson, right? And he probably deserves it. But TJ Lateef in his first career start, going on the road, back home, goes almost perfect in the passer rating thing, great with the run, no pre-snap penalties that I can remember. Operation was clean. Hats off to the young man in his first start, and one he'll never forget.
Okay, so and going back to just the offensive line, because I should have asked this earlier, but what is it? Just the time and the the reps? Like what is it that you can attribute to the progress and the growth and the improvement that we've seen over these last few weeks?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is I'll call it spade a spade. UCLA's front was not good, right? And so in order to become a better offensive line, you need to be able to beat up on the inferior opponents, right? You can't play to the rise to the level of your opponents each and every week, whether it's up or down. And so when you play against an inferior opponent like UCLA, you got to beat them up, which they did, right? When you play against a talented front in USC, you have to hold your own, which I felt like they did at times, right? And so you're seeing them become more consistent. And consistency is the best compliment you can ever give an offensive lineman, right? Saying you're really physical, saying you're really good, saying you're polished, whatever you want to use adjective wise, that does not matter. The best thing anyone could have ever told me when I played offense, like, dude, I turn on the tape and you are consistent, right? That's what you need to see out of this offensive line as they continue to move forward, is just more consistency across the board from all 5 positions.
Sack numbers are much improved, Sirles.
Well, yeah, that helps too when your quarterback's not peeling himself up off the turf.
All right, look, Coach Rule, I had asked him going into the bye week, they're going to get a couple days off, but they're pretty banged up. They got some older guys that have played a lot of football that need some rest. How is this bye week? How does this one look different compared to the one they had after Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, that one after Michigan was, hey, boys, get right. Right? Like, we're still here, a long way to go. This one's more like, Emmett, you go in the hyperbaric chamber, and I'll see you in 7 days, right? And then everyone else get in the tubs, get some iced up. We're going to go out and practice. We're going to stay sharp. We're going to stay mentally in it. We're going to make sure that we don't have any drop-off mentally. But I have to learn how to trust you guys that I can take the load off physically. And that's part of learning how to become a complete team, is learning how to practice without pads on, learning how to make walkthroughs as important and as stressful as in-game reps and understanding how to live in those moments without being the physical banging on each other, because at this point in the year, you just can't do it. It's just a detriment to you. You need your guys to make it Saturday to Saturday. And so I think that Rule's going to learn that approach and try and help keep his team understand that when you're winning, every game becomes that much more important. Right? When you win against UCLA, the Penn State game becomes that much more important. You go beat Penn State, guess what? All the marbles are on the line for an 9-win season in Iowa with a chance for 10. Every game gets more important, which means you have to take rest, practice, everything else even that much more important as well.
All right, well, we will dive into the game plan, Penn State, all of that good stuff coming up next week. So we'll save some stuff to talk about then. But good stuff as always, my friend. What are you going to do this weekend?
It's deer opener.
Oh.
It's a national holiday, Jessica. It is rifle opener. The Orange Army will be out in full effect, and it is Husker bye week and rifle opener. God favored us this year.
So the spot's looking good. You usually like stalk it for like 2 months.
No, I'm going out west. So I'm going out west to Ogallala. I got a good buddy out there, Jaden Moe, who's going to take me Murdy Outdoors. Fantastic outfit. He's going to get me set up out there and put me on hopefully a big old bruiser out west. So I'll be out there Saturday, Sunday, and then I'll be back Monday.
What's the update on all the bear and moose? What did you get? Elk meat cooking.
It's all sitting right in my. I'm just ready. I'm ready to go. And whenever I have a Big Red reaction that's not at 1 a.m., I'll bring some in.
But what's in the Sirles household? How is?
Oh, we've been doing elk chili. We did just some elk steaks the other day. My wife made some elk flank steaks. We did some elk tacos. Like pretty much anything that you make with beef, we're making with elk. Now it's soon to be with whitetail.
Okay, I was going to say, are you more consistent of a deer hunter? You talk about you want to be consistent. Are you more consistent hunting deer than you are elk?
I'm a terrible hunter. I think I'm just coming to that conclusion that I'm just not lucky. I'm just not a lucky hunter. So we'll see as it goes. Hopefully I can change that around here.
You will be so proud of Brandon Meyer, who works with us a lot here on the Huskers Radio Network. We were flying in. We landed at 5 a.m.
Oh, he went straight to the duck blind. I guarantee you he went straight to the duck blind. Yeah, if I didn't have to be at church on Sunday morning, my butt would have been in the duck blind too, because Sunday was the day.
That's just craziness to me.
The coldest and windiest days.
Going to run a marathon.
Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? The coldest and windiest days are the best days to kill things. That's when things die. I would rather go
speed walk a marathon with Josh and Cameron.
It's because you've never sat in a duck blind before, Jess.
I have sat in a deer stand.
Yeah, it's super fun.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
You're missing out on the fun things in life.
It is boring. Boring AF. All right. Well, we'll see how you did coming up next weekend.
Yeah, I'll bring some in. I'll bring some whitetail and some elk in for Kyle. Got to get the Florida boy acclimated to this Nebraska weather.
He was not a fan of the raw fish in California.
What a loser. You gotta love sushi, dude. What's wrong with you?
One more note on food. Shane had texted in and said he couldn't believe as much candy as we eat up here at the Huskers Radio Network that you had the audacity to throw out your kids' Halloween candy instead of bringing it up here to the crew here.
I mean, I guess I could have, but I have to trade it in for a toy. But next year, I'll bring in the 3 pillowfuls of sacks of candy minus all the Reese's cups.
Oh, good stuff. For Jeremiah Sirles, I'm Jessica Coody. This has been the Sideline Slice presented by Valentino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Huskers.
Go Big Red!
Valentino's treasured Italian family recipes have been passed down for generations and still locally owned and operated. Valentino's proudly serving Nebraskans in Memorial Stadium for over 30 years.